Have you ever had a week where you felt so drained and so overwhelmed by work, parenting, or other things that you had nothing left to give to your partner? Not even a little bit, not even a normal conversation, a calm tone, or a hug? I've just been through a week like that, several weeks to be honest, and we're slowly coming out of it. And I want to use this episode to share with you the way and the strategies and the things that helped us come out on the other side, feeling somewhat healed and somewhat restored. Welcome back to the Dule Johanna podcast. Today's episode is really personal, as always. I'm just coming out of a pretty intense time. June was not easy on me, personally, not on my family, not on my marriage. I had a lot to do at work. I had a big conference coming up. I was also on call for a birth, somewhat unexpectedly, because the mother went into preterm labor. And my child was also in a very hard situation. So I really tried taking care of all of those fires, and I felt like I was failing on every single front. I found it so hard to just make it through the day, let alone be there for my kids. And then I felt like I had nothing left to give to my husband. I couldn't feel anything towards him except overwhelm and resentment. And looking back, it makes me feel so sad. It was such a hard time. When we are overwhelmed by work or by parenting or our own emotions, our capacity to see the other person in the relationship often shrinks to zero. That's what happened to me. And in moments like this, I always come back to the work of Esther Perel. We all know her, we all admire her, and I think most of us owe her our marriages. She reminds us that intimacy isn't something you have or you don't have. It's something that you actively cultivate and that requires curiosity. She's so right when she says that the quality of our relationships determines the quality of our lives. When I'm maxed out, I tend to operate on survival mode, and my partner becomes just another source of noise or demand. I'm not proud to say it, but it's the truth. And then I try to remind myself of what Esther Perel says about the greatest killer of connection in a relationship is assuming that we know everything about our partner. She says, the more you assume you know your partner, the more you stop looking. And when you stop looking, you stop seeing. And that's definitely what happened to me. So I used the last couple of weeks to remind myself of 4 core teachings of Esther Perel that really helped me to make it out on the other side and to feel better about my relationship now than I did before this big fight and before that hard time. Number 1 is assume you don't know everything. Even if you've been together for ages, even like decades, your partner is not a finished story. I've been together with my husband for 15 years. We both changed so much with age, with work, with parenthood, with loss. We went through 1,000 inner shifts that we often don't speak out loud. When I'm in the trenches of daily life, when I'm tired, already multitasking and just surviving, it's so easy to see my partner as background. But he's not. He's not a fixed presence. During our fight, he said something to me. He said, I'm not your self-development project. I'm a real person with real feelings. And that was so important for me to hear. So despite my own overwhelm, I tried to ask myself important questions. Who is my partner right now? What is he carrying that I might not have noticed? And I didn't have to look far. He's carrying so much. He's trying to communicate with me. But it's really hard for me to hear when I already feel like I can't do anything more. It doesn't mean that I have to fix anything for him, right? It simply means that I'm trying to stay open and discover with him what we could do to make us both feel better. I really try to step out of my own perspective and see him more clearly and see that his reactions didn't come out of spite or anything like that, right? He was also hurting and he was also trying to get through the day. It was a really hard time for both of us, not just me. And it was so important for me to be curious about his perspective. Everything changed so quickly from there. When we were both open to see each other's point of view, we both felt instantly more loved and more heard. And that moves right to the second point, to shift from reaction to inquiry. In moments of tension, it's so tempting to react with frustration, with shutdown, with defensiveness. That's so me. But curiosity is a soft interruption to that cycle. Instead of thinking, why is he so grumpy? I try thinking, what am I missing right now? How is he actually doing? These questions aren't magic, but they open a door. We both get curious. We paused the blame and we made space for connection. And that was really everything we needed. The third point that was really important to me was to speak from vulnerability and not attack. To really share with my husband what was going on for me. Not telling him like, you didn't support me or you didn't see how I was doing. Like, instead really focus on like making clear like, this is me with all my flaws, with everything that was hard for me right now. I hear Esther Perel in my ear saying, blame is a way to discharge discomfort. And that is really something that I was doing, right? I was in so much discomfort and it was so much easier to put it on my husband instead of like sitting with it and really feeling like, okay, how can I change this for myself? So again, the answer is curiosity. Curiosity about him, but also about myself. I needed to be honest, and I'm not so good at that. Not that it's my intention to lie to my husband, but I have a tendency to lie to myself. I don't want to admit to myself how overwhelmed I am. I have a hard time asking for help before I'm falling apart. Those are all things that I have responsibility for. And being honest about that gave my husband a chance to meet me where I really was. And that goes hand in hand with point 4. Stay curious about yourself, right? This is so overlooked. Sometimes the hardest thing to admit is that I don't even know what I need right now. I'm reacting to everything. I'm maxed out. I'm angry. But underneath, I might just be sad, lonely, or desperate. I'm tired of being strong. Again, thinking of Esther Perel, who says, the quality of your communication depends on the quality of your self-awareness. That's so true, isn't it? So I try to take a breath and ask myself, what am I really feeling right now? What need is going unmet? What am I hoping my partner would magically understand without me saying it? The more clarity we have inside ourselves, the easier it is to speak with compassion, not just towards our partners, but also towards ourselves. So in a moment like last week, I tried to remind myself, disconnection is not a failure. It's a sign that something needs attention. I did my best to stop expecting my partner to be my everything, and instead to return to shared rituals, presence, small moments of noticing, and honest curiosity. I guess Esther Perel would say, love rests on 2 pillars, surrender and autonomy. Our need for togetherness exists alongside our need for separateness. In other words, you're allowed to have your own heart moment. And your partner is allowed to feel unseen too. But what saves us is returning to the table, choosing each other again and again. Feeling disconnected sometimes is not a sign that we're broken or that we've chosen the wrong partner. It's a sign that something needs tending. A sign that we've drifted, like all humans do, when life gets loud and overwhelming. There can be moments when both of us feel unseen. That doesn't make either of us the villain. The goal isn't perfect harmony. The goal is to come back to the table. Because choosing each other is not something that we do once when we first fall in love. It's this daily, messy, beautiful practice. I would love to hear how that rings for you. Do you channel your inner Esther Perel when you're in a conflict with your partner? What are the things that help you get out of those hard moments? I would love to hear. Have a wonderful summer weekend. Talk to you again next Friday. All the best. And remember to be your own life doula.